Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome start to your week. I am finally finishing the TCE Willwood 15-inch conversion kit on the Hellcat. So, finally got the rest of the parts from HHP in. So we've got, these are the rear toe links. So you got one for the driver's side, one for the passenger side. And then we've got adjustable sway bar end links, so I'll need to set these to the correct length. Someone told me it's about 8 inches, so once we get under there, we'll try and set it up at 8 inches and then see if that's the right height, or right length, sorry. And we'll adjust them from there because they are adjustable. So that'll be fun. I did already bleed the brakes, so if you're wondering on the Brembos, I mean not the Brembos, the Willwoods, you do not bleed the bottom, you just bleed from the top. There's one on the outside, one on the inside. It really helps to have two people because you can have someone press the brake while you're watching all the bubbles come out and then just pretty much top off the brake fluid. But yeah, pretty much you just want to bleed it till all the air bubbles come out. And then a good thing to do is kind of drive it around and then check them again. If they feel spongy, if there's any catching spots, you probably still have air in there and you just need to do it a couple more times. So I haven't moved the Hellcat yet, but I will move it here in the next few days, and we'll check the brakes, make sure everything's good. But they have been bled, so now we are going to install the rear toe arms and the sway bar end links that are adjustable. So first thing we gotta do is jack up the car, get the wheels off, so we're gonna do that now. So if you're wondering why we're installing these parts, well, this toe arm here sticks out pretty far, and so you just have to do less grinding when you have the skinny toe arms on there. So let me throw one up there real quick. You can kind of see the difference. I don't even think this is the right one, but you can see the difference here on the width, so it'll save you from having to do tons of grinding. So we've got those, and then you've got the sway bar end links, which go from here down to here, and this is where you've got to do pretty fair amount of grinding. So the sway bar end link will be skinnier and help get it up and out of the way for the 15-inch wheel. And if you haven't seen the Willwoods, here they are, nice and mounted. And obviously we'll double check everything after I drive it a little bit. But let's get these installed. So I'm not sure why, but they placed the camber bolt here for the rear toe arm. So what I've done is kind of hammered this out to get this bolt out. So I mean, you could really, I guess, either cut it out and replace the bolt or drop the whole cradle. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm sure there's an easier way, but you don't see this, and it's covered in the trunk anyways by the subwoofer enclosure. So I'm just kind of hammering this down a little bit to actually get the bolt out, and we're almost there. But as you can see, you got a little more hammering to do to get the bolt out. This is ridiculous. Alright, so update. I didn't really want to beat the shit out of my car, but I put a small dent in there and it still wasn't enough to wiggle the bolt out. So I guess online I just looked, there's two options. You can either cut the head of the bolt off and just replace the bolt and then insert it from the other way, or you can drop the cradle. So because I don't have a grinder that'll fit in there, I don't think at this time, and I don't really feel like replacing the bolt, I'm gonna drop the cradle. So I think I only need to drop the one side, I don't need to drop the whole thing. So I'm gonna loosen it really slowly, and hopefully just getting it loose will allow enough room just to wiggle that bolt out, but we'll see here in just a second. This is some bullshit, by the way. Alright, let me recommend, if you don't have to do this, don't fucking do it. I'm now dropping the whole cradle. I took the two bolts out on this side. It dropped maybe a couple inches, if that. Still not enough to get one bolt, let me remind you, one bolt out. So I'm gonna loosen up the passenger side of the cradle, and hopefully that will allow the driver's side to kind of droop enough so I can get that bolt out. But this is ridiculous. One bolt. One bolt. All right, so you can see the cradle dropped about an inch and a half on this side, which finally enabled us enough room to get that bolt out. So there it is. But as you'll know, the exhaust is in the way, so you may have to drop your exhaust bracket just a little bit. But I'm gonna manhandle that shit out because I'm frustrated, and that bolt is coming out now. All right, so we got it out, so you can kind of see the hole up there. So it's finally accessible because the cradle has been dropped. So yeah, we had to drop the cradle in order to do this. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was just kind of an extra step that's really annoying. And sometimes lining up these cradles can be a bitch because how heavy they are. But this is the stock one. So here's the stock one. And let's get the skinny one out. And this is the skinny one. So like I said, the biggest difference, well, the only difference is these ends here. So those are really going to save you some room when you go to put the 15s on. There's still going to be some grinding have to be done, but this will save you a lot of grinding. All right, so this toe arm is in. Still got to do the sway bar end link. Do that here in just a second. And the passenger side should be a breeze because you can actually access the frickin' bolt. There it is right there, nice and easy. So we're gonna do this passenger side, and then we'll move on to the sway bar end links. Alright, passenger skinny toe arm is in, all torqued down, and obviously once you drive it around, you want to check the torque on these again, and then probably get an alignment. Make sure the camber is set correctly with the camber bolts, because up top these are camber bolts, so definitely want to get an alignment on the rear end. Make sure your tires aren't wearing all messed up. So now we just got to do the sway bar end links. Alright, so I've got the sway bar end links on this side installed, so definitely going to have to do some adjusting once the suspension settles, but I kind of maxed them out. There's about 4 threads from the top where these go to. So you've kind of just got to adjust them and start from there. They're definitely not as long as these even when you max them out. So this one is set at 8 inches. So I actually set them out closer to about 9 and a quarter, but they're almost maxed out at that point. So definitely got to adjust them. So what you want to do is get the tires back on, kind of drive the car around, bring it back, and then adjust them. Make sure, because you want to get the load off of them. So you got to adjust for the preload. If you want to know how to do that, just YouTube it, because I don't know how to explain that shit. But at least they're on. I'm going to get the other side on. And as with anything you do, you need to drive it around, bring it back, retorque everything down, and then make adjustments. And that's a lot of what this setup is because you've got camber bolts, you've got sway bar end links, you've got new skinny toe arms. So once everything kind of settles and adjusts, and once the weight of the car is back on the suspension, some stuff is going to loosen up, some stuff is going to either camber in or camber out. So like I said, best thing to do is to get everything on as best as you can within reason, so you can drive it, make sure it's still tight and torqued down, and then get it back and take the wheels off and retorque everything down and kind of adjust everything and go from there. Like I said, this kit, there is no instructions. The only instructions there are is on how to bleed the brakes, which is kind of terrible. But these kits are made for, this one specifically is for all LC and LX Challengers. Those are modern Challengers. But there's really no straightforward directions. So hopefully this kind of helped you to get you in the right direction. However, I'm not really a mechanic. I could just kind of went with it. But yeah, it's not too bad. It's just really time consuming. It's taken me a few nights. Plus, it takes me a little longer because I'm filming and got some other stuff that I'm trying to do at the same time. But honestly, it wasn't too bad. Like I said, it's just time consuming, and you got to get willing to get dirty, bust some knuckles, and yeah, get a little cuts on your hands. No big deal. But always the good thing about working on your own car is that if something goes wrong, you know how to take it apart and at least kind of address the situation and you might be able to fix it actually because you're the one that put it together. And if something does go wrong, well, you really only have yourself to blame. So, but it kind of makes you more aware of double checking things when you're at the track. Makes you more aware of just what's going on with the car rather than just having someone put it all together for you. And then when something breaks, you're kind of like, okay, what the hell do I do now, right? So that's the good thing about working on your own car. Like, I haven't done everything on this car myself, but I've done a fair amount of things, and it kind of makes you feel a little prideful and a little good when you work on your own stuff. Not knocking anyone that doesn't work on their stuff because people don't have time to. Like, Kevin has zero time to work on his car, but he always comes out and helps me when he can, and we've done a few things on his car, but he's crazy busy. I'm pretty busy too, but not nearly as busy as he is, so I do find a little bit of time to work on my car because I like to, although sometimes I don't really know what I'm doing and I kind of just go for it. But that's honestly the best way to learn. If you're wondering on how to work on your car, just do it. Buy some parts, do some maintenance, get some upgraded parts, and always be willing to learn. Jump on YouTube. There's tons of stuff on YouTube. I'm never not willing to learn, so I'm always watching YouTube or reading articles, or I'm on a bunch of different forums just kind of learning how to do stuff. And that's how my Jeep was. I did everything on my Jeep myself, and kind of felt good knowing that I did it. But if the car falls apart, well, it's on me. So make sure you drive the car around, bring it back, take the tires off, double check everything, make sure the suspension's set up, make sure your sway bar end links are set up perfectly, and you will need to get an alignment on the rear end because we did drop the cradle and we did install new tow arms that have, they also reuse the stock caber bolts. So if you guys liked today's video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at Bambi39. I'm gonna finish this other side, and we'll see you guys on the next one.